I want you to imagine a hallway. It is a beautiful, pristine, white hallway. It stretches out in front of you as far as the eye can see. On the left side, there are 1,000 doors. On the right side, there are 1,000 doors. Every single door is open. Behind door number 1 is a career in finance. Behind door number 2 is a life of travel. Behind door number 3 is a quiet life in the countryside. Behind door number 4 is the startup you always wanted to build, and you are standing there in the middle. You are told that you are the luckiest human being in history. You are told that this is freedom. You are told that you can be anything, go anywhere, and love anyone. So why do you feel so tired? Why does your chest feel heavy? Why do you feel paralyzed? I am 60 years old now. I have spent 35 years walking down hallways like this in the corporate world. And I am here to tell you that what we call freedom in the modern world is actually a very sophisticated form of torture. We have misunderstood the biology of the human mind. You see, for 99% of human history, life was a narrow path. You did not choose your job. You did what your father did. You did not choose your food. You ate what grew in the season. You did not choose your community. You lived and died in the village where you were born. To a modern eye, it looks like a prison. But to the human brain, it was a safety net. The parameters were set. The energy of the mind was not spent on choosing the path. It was spent on walking the path. Today, we have inverted this. We spend all our energy choosing. Think about your Friday night. You open Netflix. There are 5,000 movies. You scroll. You watch a trailer. You scroll again. You check the ratings. You scroll again. 30 minutes pass. Your dinner is getting cold. And suddenly, you feel exhausted. You turn the TV off and look at your phone instead. This is a trivial example, but it is happening to your soul on a massive scale. In behavioral science, we call this decision fatigue. Every time you make a choice, you burn glucose in the brain. It is a biological tax. When you have 5 options, the tax is small. When you have infinite options, the tax bankrupts you. I remember when I was a young manager in Kuala Lumpur. I wanted everything. I wanted the high-paying job, but I also wanted to be a good father, and I wanted to be fit, and I wanted to travel. I refused to close any doors. I kept them all open because I was afraid of missing out. I thought I was maximizing my freedom, but in reality, I was standing still in the hallway, terrified to step into any room. I was vibrating with anxiety. There is a concept in physics called entropy. It is the tendency of a system to move toward chaos. When a system has too many variables, too many moving parts, and no structure, it collapses. It turns into noise. Your life is a system. When you refuse to limit your options, you increase your entropy. You create noise. You think you are free because you can do anything, but you end up doing nothing. You are a ship with 1,000 sails blowing in 1,000 directions. The ship does not move forward. It tears itself apart. We have confused liberty with license. Liberty is the right to choose the good. License is the right to do whatever you want, whenever you want. We are drowning in license. And this drowning feeling, it is not just psychological, it is spiritual. We are haunted by the ghosts of the lives we did not live. Every time you choose one door, you have to grieve for the 999 doors you did not enter. So, modern man walks around in a state of permanent low-level grief. We are anxious not because we have nothing, but because we have too much, and we do not know how to carry the weight of the infinite. We have built a cage out of open doors, and we are starving to death in the middle of the feast. Why is it so hard for us to just pick a door and close the others? Why is discipline so painful for the modern mind? To understand this, we must leave the modern psychology books for a moment and look at something older. I want to take you back to the 11th century, to the writings of the great thinker Imam Al-Ghazali. Al-Ghazali was a man who had everything: status, wealth, knowledge. And then he had a breakdown. He realized that everything he had achieved was dust, because he was not the master of his own house. He described the human condition using a powerful metaphor. He said that inside every human being, there is a king and there is a beast. The king is your reason, your spirit, your AKL. It knows what is good. It knows the long game. It wants peace, purpose, and depth. The beast is your nafs. It is your lower self. It is your appetite. It is the part of you that wants sugar, wants attention, wants distraction, wants to click on the next video, wants to buy the next shiny thing. Al-Ghazali argued that what we call freedom today is actually the slavery of the king to the beast. When you say, "I want to be free to do whatever I feel like doing," you are actually saying, "I want to surrender control to my impulses." Think about the last time you tried to focus on deep work, but your hand automatically reached for your phone. You didn't choose to do that. Your king didn't order that. The beast did. The impulse hijacked your motor functions. You are not the rider of the horse. The horse is riding you. This is the crash. We have built a civilization that worships the beast. Our entire economy is designed to stimulate your nafs. The algorithms, the advertisements, the endless notifications, they are all whispering to the animal part of your brain. Look here. Buy this. Fear this. Want this. And because we have redefined freedom as satisfying every desire, we have no defense. We think that saying no to ourselves is a form of oppression. I learned this the hard way. In my 40s, I had the money to buy whatever I wanted. I had the freedom to go anywhere, but I felt empty. I was constantly distracted. I was irritable. My soul was exhausted because it was being dragged through the mud by my appetites. Ibn Sina, another great philosopher, spoke about the concept of the floating man, a mind suspended in pure awareness, detached from the sensory inputs of the body. He tried to tell us that our true essence is not what we consume, but what we contemplate. But today, we cannot float. We are weighted down by our attachments. We are enslaved by our options. When you cannot commit to a career because you are afraid of boredom, that is the nafs fearing discipline. When you cannot commit to a partner because you think there might be someone better on an app, that is the nafs addicted to novelty. The crash happens when you realize that chasing options has made you shallow. You have dug 10,000 holes that are 1 inch deep instead of one hole that is 10,000 inches deep. You have no water. You have no depth. True freedom, according to the ancients, is not the ability to follow your desires. It is the ability to resist them. It is the ability to stand in front of the open door of laziness and close it. It is the ability to stand in front of the door of lust and close it. It is the ability to stand in front of the door of greed and close it. Only when you close those doors does the king regain the throne. But right now, for most of us, the king is in a dungeon, and the beast is running wild in the hallway, confused, overfed, and terrified of the silence. We are crashing because we are spiritually unregulated. We are trying to fill a hole in the soul with things from the supermarket, and it will never work. So, how do we escape the hallway? How do we put the king back on the throne? The answer is counterintuitive. The answer is not to seek more. The answer is to seek less. In architecture, there is a principle. Compression creates flow. If you want water to shoot far and strong, you do not widen the pipe. You narrow it. You create pressure through constraint. Your life works the same way. You need to artificially create the constraints that the modern world has removed. This is what the great poet Rumi meant when he said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." The wound here can be understood as the limit, the boundary, the struggle. To find true freedom, the freedom from anxiety, the freedom from the paralysis of choice, you must embrace the discipline of the single path. This is not about punishment. It is about liberation. I want you to visualize a person walking through a dense, dark forest. If they run in every direction looking for a way out, they will die of exhaustion. But if they pick one direction, just one, and walk in a straight line, ignoring every other path, they will eventually break through to the sunlight. Here is the protocol for the modern age, inspired by the wisdom of the old masters. First, you must practice via negativa. This is a Latin term, but the concept is pure Islamic philosophy zuhd, or detachment. It means adding to your life by subtracting. Look at your options. Look at your commitments. Look at your subscriptions. Look at your goals and start cutting. Be ruthless. You do not need 5 hobbies. You need one that challenges you. You do not need 50 friends. You need 3 who would die for you. You do not need 20 investment strategies. You need one that is boring and consistent. When I retired, I got rid of 80% of my belongings. I closed the doors to status and networking. And for the first time in 30 years, I could hear my own thoughts. The noise stopped. The entropy decreased. Second, you must accept the grief of closing doors. This is the price of maturity. You have to look at the other lives. You could have lived a musician, the traveler, the CEO, and you have to say goodbye. You have to mourn them. It is painful. The nafs hates it. The nafs wants to be everything. But you must tell the beast, no, we are doing this. When you commit to one thing, you give up the rest. But in exchange, you get something rare. You get depth. You get mastery. You get peace. Al-Farabi spoke of the virtuous city, where every part plays its specific role in harmony. You must build a virtuous city inside your own mind. You must assign a role to your time and forbid it from wandering. And finally, you must redefine freedom. Freedom is not standing in the hallway of infinite doors. That is hell. Freedom is walking through one door, locking it behind you, and throwing away the key. It is the freedom of the monk, the freedom of the master craftsman, the freedom of the devoted spouse. It is the freedom of knowing exactly who you are and what you are here to do. It is the freedom of the arrow that has been released from the bow. The arrow has no options. It cannot turn left or right. It has only one destination. And because of that constraint, it flies straight, it flies true, and it strikes the target. Be the arrow, not the wind. Stop looking for more doors. Pick one and walk.